We want to be there forever.
And these are the live scenes from Donington Park. Slightly foggy this morning. Here's what's coming up. Race 1 live at 10 a.m. GMT and race 2 live at 1300 GMT. So 2 races coming up. And like I said, a bit foggy this morning, but as you can see, the grid is ready for the explosion of those V12s. Well, it's a state-of-the-art motor racing car, and we also have, of course, the iconic names of football. Let's find out who is in the beautiful race.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Obviously, Milan, they have a big fan club worldwide, so they want me to perform well. AC Milan.
It's a very good concept, and I think it will be a great weekend for us. And I hope I can win the race.
I'd be happy with top 10 finish, but obviously being on the top step of the podium would be nice in one of the races.
I'm 18 years old, I have to learn a lot of things about the car. And for this weekend now, I don't know. So, sorry, I don't know.
I would like to be in the podium. I don't know, yes, first it will be better, but I will try to be in the first three, yes.
Looking forward to it, and anyways, I have to do a good result because next race is in Nürburgring, it's home track for Borussia Dortmund, so I have to do well this time so that we can get on a good roll and do well in Nürburgring.
For this race, I'm racing with the Brazilian team, with Corinthians, and I'm really looking forward to defend the colors.
How can you imagine that when I was a kid I was going to the mat and I was everything, and today I'm the driver for Flamengo. The life give you good things, and this is a good thing that's happening with me today.
I hope to see you in the podium Sunday.
With all the Spanish players there and that are doing quite a good job as well, so it's good, and it's really good for me that I'm Spanish as well to win the Liverpool.
The podium will be extraordinary, I'm sure, but we'll take one step at a time.
Podium, definitely it's gonna be possible. So, but the race is gonna be long.
We're gonna have to see, what happens. I think after qualifying we'll know more.
I think the first weekend, if anybody can get a podium, I think that's going to be a huge bonus. So I think to finish is the first thing, and then a victory would be second. But podium's a great result.
We're really looking for to be on top tomorrow, and we are ready to fight. It's possible to finish in top 5. I think it's a good result for the third race.
If I keep it on the black stuff, then everyone else is a bit silly, you never know. But, I'm hoping to find a lot of pace today, and we could actually have a genuine chance of getting the podium, you never know.
Great deal of anticipation amongst the drivers and the teams. Here are the rules. Race length, 39 minutes plus 1 lap. So we'll have a running clock on that, and when we hit 39 minutes, you'll know then there's one more lap. Race is a rolling start, which will be interesting. No compulsory pit stops. The finishing positions from race 1 are reversed the grid for race 2. In other words, if you win race 1, you will have to go to the back. So that will make things interesting because the fastest man will have to come through the field if he wants to get points. So then, these are the live scenes here from Donington Park. This is the grid. How did it get here? Let's take a look at what happened in qualifying yesterday. Now, in qualifying, it looked like this. It was a quarter-final draw, just like football, and we saw Sevilla against Tottenham, Galatasaray against Beijing, PSV against Roma, Olympiacos against AC Milan. In the first duel, it was Sevilla against Tottenham Hotspur, and this actually was one of the closest races for the pole we had in the quarterfinals. Sevilla setting the pace, coming across the line, 1:19.4. But look at this, Duncan Tappy of Tottenham Hotspur, and you heard him say that he is in with an outside chance today, but he came very, very close to beating Sevilla, but not quite. Galatasaray took on Beijing Guoan FC. If you've never heard of Beijing Guoan FC, stay tuned, you will soon, because Galatasaray couldn't hold a candle to them, 1:20.6, and Beijing were just faster. Look at that, up by half a second after the first split, and in the end, 1:18.5, a hugely impressive time by that man in the green and white, Davide Rigon from Italy, representing Beijing. One of the favourites for qualifying and for the pole was AS Roma. They took on PSV Eindhoven. Hjalmar Berman coming out of the last corner, trying to take on Enrico Cioccocello of Italy, and a Roman to boot. And the Roman did come to the last corner at Gerrard's, chasing that 1:19.4 set by PSV Eindhoven. And just a little bit of oversteer on the exit there, and just missing out, as you can see there. So Roma already out. Another favourite, Robert Doornbos, Formula One star, and now one of the big stars of the Super League formula, and definitely one of the favourites for the pole. They'd done the most testing. Olympiakos had not. And also Casper Andersson. Who's Casper Andersson? You're about to find out, because he was quicker than AC Milan in their quarter-final. 1:20.0. And look at this time. Just a problem at the last Melbourne hairpin in 1:20.1. And AC Milan, yes, the great AC Milan, are out of the quarterfinals. So Sevilla going through, Beijing going through, PSV Eindhoven also going through to the semi-finals. Here are the semi-finals. Just a little bit of a lock-up there from Borja Garcia for Sevilla FC against Olympiakos of Greece, but not a problem. It didn't slow him down. And as you see, the two times, both cars on the track at the same time, in a shootout, a penalty shootout, if you like, in motor racing terms. And Sevilla coming across the line in 1:19.6. Olympiakos right on their heels. But as you can see, they lost time in the first sector, lost time in the second sector, and they just couldn't get it back. 1:20. Sevilla going through then to the final. Beijing were out on track again. The green and white of Guan FC up against Hjalmar Berman of PSV Eindhoven. The Dutch obviously keen on football and massively big fans of motor racing. Beijing, relatively unknown. The club was only formed in 1992. But I'll tell you what, they're putting their name on the map now. 1:19.0 in that effort in the semi-finals. Eindhoven, try as they might, push as they might, just couldn't equal it. Coming across the line, 1:19.5. It was close, but no cigar, as they say. And Beijing march on. So, there is the semi-final result. Sevilla going through over Olympiakos, Beijing going through as well. And that meant the first final for Super League Formula saw the Spanish Sevilla FC against Beijing Guan FC. Sevilla, definitely one of the favourites with Borja Garcia. He's had a lot of time in the car, and he did set an excellent 1:19.3. Nothing wrong with that, but watch this. Beijing Guan FC coming across the line, up by 0.2, up by 0.5, 1:18.5. Probably one of the most impressive laps of the day, and Davide Rigon knew it. Celebration all round, and Beijing are pole. So, this is how the grid, of course, remember, you've just seen only the quarter-finals. I can tell you, those that didn't make the quarter-finals, as we look down, Beijing, as you saw, beating Sevilla, they are in pole. PSV and Olympiakos on the second row. AC Milan with Robert Doornbos and Rome. Look at that, Milan and Rome on the same row. Fourth row sees Galatasaray and Tottenham Hotspur. Al Ain of the United Arab Emirates alongside Anderlecht, Craig Dolby, another Englishman from just down the road. Nelson Philippe, who is a Frenchman coming over, is racing for Dortmund, and then Flamenco, Tuca Roca for Flamenco of Brazil. FC Porto, Tristan Gomendi. Corinthians, another Brazilian side. Rangers at the back, not happy. Basel with Max Wiesel, and right at the very back, Liverpool Football Club. A big surprise. They were one of the favourites. They had an alternator problem, and they are not going to be happy with that. They've got a lot of work to do. Adrian Valles is the man. But look at this, Robert Doornbos on the track. Now, a closer look at the car. There is Robert Doornbos, and he will be definitely one of the favourites. Now, what about Donington Park? Well, one of the greatest races in the world was ever run here back in 1993. Let's take a look at the track with my co-commentator and man of the moment who's been testing the car, of course, Bruce Duani.
Donington Park, 4 kilometers long, 10 corners, and we're on board doing the rolling start with Enrico Cioccocello, the AS Roma car, going into the first corner, 250 kilometers, 17 cars there, trying to make their way in the first corner. And there he goes, back onto the power, 4th and 5th, going into the Craner curves. Very, very fast corner, beautiful place to watch. Fighting the car, G-force very high on the left side, and then he goes into the old hairpin, which is the fastest corner of the track. And then he goes again on the power, up the gears, into 6, into McLean's, which is a very narrow corner, and there's only room for one car there. You won't see two cars together, otherwise there's going to be a clash. Up the gears again into Coppice, which is a completely blind corner. You cannot see the apex, but still he clips the apex, fights the car a little bit on the exit, goes onto the longest straight of the circuit, reaches the top speed, 280 kilometers there in 6th gear, into the chicane, fighting the car. Nice place to watch. Car will go over the curve, back onto the power, slides, very good spot indeed. And then he goes into the last 2 corners. Slow hairpin, Melbourne, in second or first gear. You can see the car from very, very close. He fights the car again, 750 brake horsepower to put the power on the floor. It's difficult. And there you go, Goddard's best place to see some overtaking maneuvers. Watch it during the race. That was a strong lap for us from Enrico Tocacello.
Well, I think you'll agree it's a wonderful track to be at. And look, the Rangers fans are here and they've got their kilts on. Who said that football and motor racing doesn't combine? It certainly does. But Beijing are the team of the moment. Bruce Giuliani is alongside me now, having got out of the car. I know you want to be out there, Bruce, and you've done most of the testing. Tell us about this car.
Well, it's a brilliant car, very big, a little bit heavy, but 750 brake horsepower, lots of power. So you will see lots of sliding, power oversteer. It's a great car to drive. It's a real big single-seater, very challenging, but it's fantastic. High technology on one side, and still all the work to be done by the driver.
We're looking at Sevilla, Borja Garcia, a man you've raced against and has, of course, have got GP2 and World Series by Renault experience. He's going to be one of the favourites today.
Yeah, he did a very good job yesterday during qualifying, and all of the drivers up there have a great experience. It's a big car, lots of power again, and you have to have this type of driver being able to bring the car around the track at that speed.
What surprised me as we take a look at Jelmer Berman, of course, who's representing PSV Eindhoven, I had no idea how many of you racing drivers were football fans, and in fact, in the case of many of these drivers, including Jelmer Berman, who we're looking at now, he is a fan of PSV Eindhoven since he was a kid.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we've actually discovered that we all not always speak about other sports because we're very busy doing our things. But yeah, most of us are supporting some clubs, and Jelmer is definitely a great fan of PSV. Doesn't mean we can play, but we're fans.
Well, of course, Denmark have a huge football history. Kasper Andersen from Denmark, but representing Olympiacos, one of the biggest teams in the world, and he knows about the pressure. Most of the cars were actually launched at the actual football stadiums, and I think the atmosphere was incredible because I don't think any racing driver is used to having 60,000 fans almost cheering his name and certainly the name of the club.
No, it's true. There's a lot of fans around there, and we feel a lot of support, and we feel an extra pressure and some proudness to have to carry the colours and try to do well for the team. Sure.
There is Robert Dornbos, of course, the former Formula One star who's had a year off racing. He is so hungry. His mum was a physio at AC Milan. He's followed AC all his life, and certainly the Italian fans will want AC Milan, who've won so many titles. In fact, Franco Baresi is even here, one of the great players of their team. We're hoping to invite a few more down. Haven't seen Stevie Gerrard, who's, I know, out injured for Liverpool, but then again, Liverpool at the back today, so maybe we'll see him at some other point. AS Roma, Enrico Tocacello, certainly one of the favourites in terms of the drivers. Not doing so well in qualifying, struggling a bit.
Yeah, he was very quick in testing. We were expecting him to be at the front, but the track changed a little bit, the track conditions, and it didn't suit his setup or his driving style. I'm not so sure, but it's going to be interesting because you have AC Milan and AS Roma starting together on the grid, so watch out.
Alessandro Perguidi from Galatasaray. I was disappointed because in the free practice they looked as though they were going to be stronger than they were, but they didn't come through, and we just saw a quick glimpse there of Tottenham Hotspur. I'm just thinking that Duncan Tappy, who literally got this drive this week, I mean a few days ago, because Tottenham were a very late signer to the league. We were delighted they're here, and they've got a big match as well this afternoon in real football terms, but Duncan Tappy could pull out something special for them.
He improved since day one. I mean, he just discovered the car this week, and every session he's been improving, and he's been putting a very good lap into the qualifying session, and he's up there. And if he does well again today, if he's improving again today, then we will have to watch him out during the race.
Now, man who is 7th currently in GP2. This is a big find for us. Al Ain, and this, of course, from the United Arab Emirates. And Andy Zuber, well known in motor racing terms. Probably another one of the stars right there along Dornbos. This guy is hungry. He's right at the sharp end of GP2 at the moment.
Yeah, he's been at the sharp end of GP2 for the last 2 years, really. He's been in very good teams. He has a lot of experience, drives this kind of power every weekend. He's doing very well at the moment. He's very strong in GP2, so he's one of the most experienced up there, and he's going to do well for sure, especially in those long type of races.
Yeah, and it's key for clubs that perhaps aren't as famous to the world, perhaps Al Ain being one of them, Beijing another one. And what about this guy, Anderlecht? never been in the car until this week once again. Craig Dolby, who's from Melton Mowbray, just 20 minutes away. Whole family and friends are down here. He's got a big task, hasn't he? He's hardly done any laps in the car.
No, for sure. It's gonna be very hard. Especially, I'm thinking of it about the physical side. This car is heavy and hard, and it's gonna last 40 minutes. A race of 40 minutes when you haven't done it, and they haven't practiced. They haven't done any race simulation. He's gonna suffer. I hope he's ready.
Another man to look out for, Nelson Philippe, who has just come over from the States. Rangers, we haven't seen their car, we've seen their flags and their fans. Rangers had problems in qualifying, like Liverpool, so Rangers and Liverpool expect them to come through. Now, the glory of the way this is set up, as we take a look at Flamenco, the glory of the way this is set up is, of course, that it's a reverse grid. So even though Liverpool are at the back and Rangers are at the back right now, they can fight their way through to pick up points, 50 for a win all the way down, remember, and have a good grid position if they don't come through for race 2.
Yeah, it's going to produce a fantastic show. I mean, they have to see where they want to finish. If obviously they're going to not reach the top 12 or top 15, they want to stay at the back and try to start the race at the front for the next one. And in any case, I think they're all going to try to fight to get some points. And it's the first race. They all want to put a good show on, so it's going to be a good race for sure.
I'll reiterate, many of the cars haven't tested as much as they would like. It's all been a bit tough for them to actually get as much time as they want, and so therefore I think there'll be some mistakes. I think there'll be problems that guys aren't expecting, and as you've seen in the case of Liverpool, they certainly, run by High-Tech, one of the top teams, shouldn't be at the back of the grid by any means, but that's where they are. They'll have to fight their way through. And interestingly, Liverpool have stuck with their Spanish theme. They've got a Spanish manager and several great Spanish stars. They've also got a big star of motor racing in Adrian Valles, another guy I know you know well.
Yeah, he's very experienced as well. Did a lot of GP2, even did some F1 testing, so for sure a lot of experience. It's a very important moment just now, just to see all those cars together on the grid. It's been a long journey up to there, and it's great.
Well, I say congratulations to Alexandru and Robin Webb, who are the instigators of this. They've spent many years preparing for this moment, the start of the first ever Super League Formula. We are on the warm-up lap for race 1 of 2 races. I'm Jonathan Green, alongside me, Bruce Giuani, and this is pretty exciting. And I know there's a lot of football fans here who are kind of a bit quizzical about what will happen, but one thing for sure, when that colour and noise of those V12 takes off, they're going to be sat back in their seats in awe.
It's going to be a rolling start today, and it's going to be you will have to look carefully what happens in the first corner.
Let me ask you, does that help a driver or hinder a driver?
No, it's going to help them, because when you have 750 brake horse from this big 4.2 litre engine, there's a lot of torque, and it's very hard to do a standing start. Very, very hard to put the power down without having a lot of wheel spin, and it's going to make their life easier. So we'll see them reaching the first corner at 250 kilometers. They have to brake early, they have carbon brakes. They really have to be careful in the first corner.
And we are approaching the sort of halfway point of this famous Donington circuit. And remember, of course, one of the greatest races, well, they call it the race of the century, the one that Ayrton Senna won back in 1993 in Formula One, where he lapped the whole pack. I can't see anybody doing that this morning, but it is a great circuit. Not a lot of places to overtake, as you mentioned, as we come under the bridge here towards what's called the Foggy S. Is this probably the most likely place to overtake?
Yeah, it is. The problem is that there is a changing of direction, so whoever's inside going into the corner is outside getting out of the corner. So it's going to be hard, and as well, Goddard, the last hairpin, is a good place for overtaking.
Another good possibility here into the Melbourne Loop.
Yeah, as well. Good place, and they're very slow. They're going to put each other side by side for the rolling start. It's going to be a slow rolling start. Try not to get too fast, too quick into the first corner. All the pack is there.
Well, Liverpool looks as though they've almost completely come to a stop there. Let's hope there's no stalls, because that's game over almost if you stall. The Porsche leading them round.
Porsche with the lights off.
The lights are still red. If they go green, we are going to be racing into Redgate, and it is going to be a real explosion. We're coming out of Goddard's the last corner. Beijing are in control of the race right now. They should be line astern. If the light goes, and we are racing. Away we go for the first ever Super League Formula, and Beijing holding on to that lead to start off with as we head to Redgate for the first time.
Sevilla seems to be holding on to the second place, but very good start from Olympiacos.
The clock you see on the left shows you that we have a 39-minute race plus 1 lap, and Beijing are already off to the races. Look at them go. Alain in trouble already down the Craner curves. Luckily, Andy Zuber holding on to it, gaining a place. But look at Beijing, they are flying.
Everybody went through, no crashes. Very, very good start from everyone there. Very impressed with no crashes and all.
Ooh, a little bit of a lock up there, and that was again Andy Zuber having forced his way through. And he was subject. Tottenham are right up there. They're up to 4th place now. Brilliant stuff by the Englishman Duncan Tappy. Had a quick word with him this morning. He was really up for this afternoon. And there is Tappy. Well, Tottenham Hotspur taking on Chelsea this afternoon. Maybe they'll have a big day after all. Somebody's out. It looks like AC Milan. Is that AC Milan?
Yes, it is.
Robert Dornbos, one of the favourites, is out of the first ever Super League formula. Dornbos, the Formula 1 star who came in here, and everybody expected him to be the big favourite. And AC Milan, without doubt, one of the biggest clubs in the world, are already out, and now we've got more drama.
Nelson Philippe from Dortmund jumped or climbed over the car in front of him. Not quite sure who it was. It's Andy Soucek with the Corinthians.
Yeah, the Corinthians, a lot of their fans, of course, Brazilian fans, looking for one of the biggest clubs in the world. 100,000 came to the launch, but sadly, it's come to just less than a lap, and Corinthians are stuck in the middle of the track. This is what happened.
Yeah, I think Nelson is going to be able to go back to the pits and maybe
get
put
a new
another
nose cone.
Yep, I think it's going to be possible. So first lap, 2 cars out.
Well, here we go. And Beijing have got it's a 1.5 second lead already. And I'll tell you what, Davide Rigon will be really hoping that they don't put a safety car out there if there is a car in the way of the track, because he's got such a superb lead now over Sevilla. Roma in 3rd place now. Tottenham still in 4th. That was a brilliant start from Duncan Tappy. Olympiacos right there as well. Galatasaray, Anderlecht and Alain of Andy Zuber, who you saw in the World Wars there, is in 9th position. But it's all about Guan FC at the moment, and the young Italian doing the business who took the pole position. Here's what happened to Robert. What does it look like to you?
Engine.
Yeah,
engine's gone. Pop, I think. Yep, I think the engine's gone, especially when it's stopping. There's a lot of smoke, water coming out, so not good, not looking good. I hope they will be ready for the next race.
And if you're wondering who is mechanicking a lot of these cars, they are some of the best men in the world, some of the best teams in the world. High Tech, of course, looking after Liverpool and several other Astromega. Many teams, very famous. Alan Docking, also part of this.
Zach Speed as well.
Zach Speed, of course, ex-Formula 1. And so some very good experts out there, and you need to have experts with a V12 like this. Robert Dornbos still not happy.
He needs his car to be moved away, and the safety car.
And the safety car is out.
Why, yes.
36 minutes to go, and the safety car comes out, and that is massively bad news for Beijing Guan. They had a 2-second lead, and that will all come to naught now. And effectively, well, Bruce, perhaps you can explain. If you were in that lead now, effectively, you've lost it all. Dortmund coming in to get that nose cone as we expected.
Yep. Yeah, when you're leading, you already pulled 2 seconds on the second car. Well, it's a shame that
he's going without it.
Well, yeah, it's a real shame that he's going to lose that advantage. But he looks very strong, and I'm sure he'll do the job again.
Now, interesting decision. Would you have done the same? He could have stopped, changed the nose cone, but he would have wasted so much time that he won't get out before. Exactly, that's why he's done that.
And I'm not sure he's allowed to do what he just did.
Zach Speed are talking about it. That's the German Zach Speed team, and a lot of talk now. What are your thoughts?
Basically, it's miscommunication, because they should have called him in, but they should have called him in once he has rejoined the safety car, not until the safety car is not there with all the grid behind him. So basically, he just nearly lost a lap.
That was the start, and we went on board here into Redgate for the first time. It was an amazingly clean start, because it's not a very wide field. And good defensive driving from Rigan. He just made sure that nobody got up the inside of him. So crucial. Another car out, and that is Flamenco. So AC Milan are offside, so to speak, and so are AC Milan, sadly. So big Brazilian contingent are out. Flamenco very little time in the car as well, but they too, like AC Milan, are out of the first ever Super League race.
Not so sure what happened with the Flamengo car. Yeah, just now they have to keep the temperature into the tires. Have to keep the tires into the engine, the temperature everywhere, and make sure he's able, Beijing, to keep the lead once there's a restart.
Here we are on board with Yuan Beijing and Davide Rigon. And what will he be doing? Just take us through it, Bruce, in terms of what he's...
What you do when you're behind a safety car, you try to save the tire temperature, so you're actually working the tires as he does now, and you are pressing the brakes with your left foot, because everybody's left foot braking now, even though you do have 3 pedals in the car, the third one being the clutch. Your left foot braking to put temperature into the brake disc and into the tires.
And of course, when the lights go off on the safety car, that's when we'll be racing again, and that is when Davide Arrigon will control the race and try and pull away from Borja Garcia from Sevilla. I can't emphasize just how big an opportunity this is for these young drivers. Yes, we've got the iconic names of football, but so many of these drivers on the way up have beaten some of the massive stars of motor racing, and this is a big opportunity for them to shine. I'm thinking of people like Borja Garcia, who hasn't really done much, but he's been there and thereabouts, and this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, Borja has raced at the top level, and he's done some podiums. He's won some races, some racing in other categories, World Series, GP2 and all that. And it's a great opportunity for him to show his level again.
Well, there's the face of motor racing that we've seen so often, the highs and the lows. Robert Dornbos sat there having to watch the worst possible scenario to see the first race. That's what happened with Dortmund and Corinthians. Dortmund still circulating, but we are still wondering whether Zach Speed will be penalised. Do you think they will?
Still not yet the green flag.
Yeah, we're still under safety.
Yeah, still under safety car. Sorry, I was Dalton just checking. I thought the lights went off. But what a shame for the AC Milan. And you can really see Robert Dornbos being so down because he's supporting the team, and he must feel really bad just for him, for his team, but as well for the club, very hard.
Well, Tuca Roca feeling the same way as Flamenco's car is also. So both the Brazilian teams are out of the first race. And to be fair, they hadn't had a lot of preparation through this. They came late to the season, and Beijing leading them round.
So far, Beijing was the quickest car on track, obviously. 1:20.5, already a very, very good lap considering they're running with full fuel in the car. They have 120 liters of fuel, which is 90 kilos of fuel on board. Very heavy, and still they're lapping very, very fast. And second fastest was Sevilla FC with 1:21.0, so that's 5/10 difference between Beijing and Sevilla. So Beijing still, like yesterday, flying.
In terms of the times, we saw Beijing do a 1:25. I mean, we haven't had many real laps in anger yet, but they were definitely quicker. I mean, looking down the field, down to the likes of, let's say, Basel, 1:23.4. So Beijing really have got the run on them, and we saw in qualifying a 1:18.5. So where do you think the lap times will be?
I think they're going to stay consistent until the end of the race, because the tires are going away, so you have less and less grip, but the fuel level goes down as well at the same time, so it's balancing the lap time. And I think towards the end of the race, maybe with a very light car, we'll see low 20s or mid 90s. We'll see some 19s for sure.
So they're trying to get the debris cleared away. We are still racing. The race has 30 minutes to go. This is a 39-minute race plus one lap.
And they really have to move the cars out of the way. The shortest time on the safety cars, the better. I mean, they have to react quick.
We're still under safety. Another lap completed as they pass our commentary position. The marshals clearing away. And I tell you what, the banter that is obviously associated with football has already joined here in motor racing. Marshals yesterday morning picking up Liverpool and picking up Adrian Valles. They said, we're not picking you up, we're Chelsea fans.
Yes.
A little bit of banter. Here's another look at what happened to Corinthians and Dortmund as they came together, and the others were lucky to avoid them, actually.
Yeah, FC Porto in front was just very lucky to avoid the car, and I think we're on board with the Rangers, and he did a good job as well to avoid the crash.
Yeah, Ryan Dale, we haven't had a lot of time to talk about Rangers. Rangers going to be definitely one of the favourites when they get up to speed. They've had quite a lot of problems. They missed the test on Thursday, had fuel pump problems as well, and Ryan Dale is really one of the top drivers, I think, and Rangers will be one of the top teams.
Yeah, he raced in the US in Champ Cars, so he's completely used to this type of cars. He's used to this type of racing, which is long racing with lots of fuel on board, so he's going to do well for sure. And even today, even though he's quite at the back, he's actually running in 12th position now. We still have to have a look at him.
They now have pretty much cleared the track of the debris, and safety is paramount. Of course, they're not going to leave that huge car sitting there with a chance. Dortmund, interestingly, still circulating round at the back. How can Nelson Philippe, how will it affect?
Well, I'm not so sure if in the regulation he has the right to stop under the safety car. That might be the reason why the team might be checking as well. But he should stop, he should change his nose now, because he's only going to lose one place.
Well, the other point, perhaps, these cars aren't designed to be aerodynamic. So we haven't got all the gizmos that you might see in GP2, maybe Formula 1. It's all about trying to just race and more about the driver. So how badly will it affect him?
I still think it will affect the car badly because the wings, even though they're not as fine-tuned and small as in GP2 or a big car like a Formula 1 car, still they're very big and still they are very efficient, and it's gonna have to affect his driving for sure. So he has to stop, he has to put the nose back on.
There's the Flamengo driver, and he's not doing too much Flamenco, is he? Poor lad. Tuco Roca, the young Brazilian. He too, another top driver, looking for another big opportunity, but won't happen today, will it? Consternation in the Dortmund pit.
They have to stop, they have to put another wing on. They really have to, otherwise he's going to struggle all the race, and I think he's in.
Well,
yeah,
they're listening to you,
pits.
Bruce. Dortmund has pulled off now and come into the pits, and surely they will put a brand new nose cone.
He shut down the engine, which is not a good sign.
If you've just joined us, you're watching the first ever Super League Formula. Beijing leading the way, Sevilla in second place, and AS Roma in third. Sadly, Borussia Dortmund, the great name of Borussia Dortmund, out of the race, and yeah, that is just not fixable. The bottom line is they would have to replace the whole of the front of the car, and you don't know what's happened to the suspension, so he's decided to call it a day. There is a second race, and ironically, he will be at the front end of it, or close to. There's another irony in it. You know, when you start thinking about AC Milan, Flamenco, and now Dortmund, they're going to be at the front for the next race.
Yeah, they're going to be at the front. I mean, Nelson Philippe could have done a good race today. He has experience in champ cars as well, which is the same kind of heavy car and 1 hour race. So he's going to be good. He's going to be very strong for the next race. I think they decided to stop because, yeah, as you said, suspension might have been damaged, and it's safer to stop early, fix the car, and get ready for the second race.
Very impressed with Tottenham, the team you can see right in the centre of your picture right now, just behind AS Roma. And Duncan Tappy was a Formula Renault champion last year, and this is probably the biggest car he's ever driven, but he's proving himself well.
Yeah, it is definitely the biggest car, and but he got used to the power very quickly. During the season, he raced in World Series as well, 3.5 litre engine, quite a big car, but definitely 750 brake horse today is another word.
The long walk home, and likewise for Nelson Philippe, taking off the hands device and waiting and watching the rest of this race. 26 minutes to go, we are still racing, and the sunshine is coming out here at Donington Park, so we should have a pretty interesting sprint close to this, and plenty of drama in the early stages, as we expected. Zach Speed, though, losing out. The German team looking after.
Okay.
Now, I've got a feeling.
Safety car.
And we are going green. Beijing will lead them away. 25 minutes to go. Here comes Tottenham around the outside as they head towards Redgate. And all defensive driving from Toccacello, and he will not allow Tappy through. And AS Roma and Tottenham, well, it could be a Champions League final, that one, but between the two of them, fantastic stuff. Anderlecht are out. Craig Dolby, the young Englishman, out for Anderlecht, a former Belgian Renault champion, representing Anderlecht and pulling off and onto the grass and out of this race. Beijing doing a very good job at the restart again, and that it was the toughest time, and it could be the make or break of this race. And I was going to say, if Beijing weren't going to run away with this race, they had to get it right from the restart.
Yes, Beijing did a good job. Sevilla was just behind him, 4 tenths behind him, and AS Roma as well was very close, only less than a second behind him. And AS Roma looks very strong because he's already in the back of Sevilla car.
Well, that was at Hollywood, and Anderlecht out as they head down towards Craner Curves again, but it is Beijing leading from Sevilla. AS Roma in a mighty fight with Tottenham Hotspur, Olympiacos and Galatasaray, the two Greek teams, right behind in 5th and 6th. PSV Eindhoven, surprised to see Jelmer Berman down in 7th place. Expected him to go better than that in the early stages, but it is Beijing, and let's have a look at the times as they come out of Goddard's again to complete the lap. We are racing with 24 minutes to go. Beijing crossed the line, a 1:20.8 that last lap, and a lot quicker again than anybody else, and he's pulling away at the front, 1.4 seconds ahead of Sevilla.
Yep, and a good first lap from AS Roma, good first lap from Tottenham. Just not having quite as a good start as on the previous one, but he's making up again, and you can see he's pulling the gap again on AS Roma, but good start from Roma and Spurs.
So the gap, you can see 1.4 seconds between Sevilla and Beijing, and that was the final, remember, of qualifying. So it's first and second in position, Sevilla, then Roma, Tottenham against them, and 0.7 from the lead. Tottenham Liverpool moving up, I see, and into 9th position, and that's good news. Liverpool and Adrian Baez, the Spaniard, doing the business. Up to 9th place from the back. Impressive.
Yeah, that's a good start from him, and they looked very strong in testing. He's going to be strong in the races as well. We're seeing him just behind Galatasaray, PSV Eindhoven. There is Alain, and he's there in the back of Alain and Adrian Zuber, so it's a very good restart of a race for him.
Well, if you're wondering what bird flies into the bird nest in Beijing, it's the one you're watching on your screen. The Beijing Guoan FC team will be resident there once the Olympics is all done and dusted, because of course the Paralympics on at the moment. And Beijing putting themselves massively on the map in the last month, and they're doing it in motor racing too. Now we've got a battle on. Tottenham under real pressure now. Excellent racing between Tottenham and Olympiacos. This is Casper Anderson up against the young Duncan Tappy as they head down crater curves together, side by side almost. Tottenham really in trouble now, under pressure. Where will he go if he wants to make a move?
Well, not in the next corner, that's for sure, because it's the fastest corner of the track, and you see he stays in front. But then when we'll get to the tricky and slow speed corners towards the end of that lap, it's going to be good.
We're on board with Olympiacos. Take us through it, Bruce. You put yourself in the seat.
Hey, he's clipping the curve here into McLean's. Very good. How to go back on the power. Then completely blind corner, as I was saying, into Coppis. Back on the power as early as possible. And now we're going to go in the area where he's going to be able to make a maneuver.
He's not close enough, I don't think.
No, he's not. He lost a bit of time there. But he can come back on the braking just now. But no, definitely not close enough. So not on that lap. But Liverpool gets closer.
Yeah, Liverpool are really moving in, and it's on Andy Zuber and LIN, so it's the United Arab Emirates against the mighty Liverpool FC. Liverpool in action, in fact, down the road at Aston Villa this afternoon, but I think this is a bit more pressure.
All the cars at the front being...
Galatasaray out.
There is a little bit of grass and of dust on his rear tyres, so I think he must have went off. We didn't have that on TV.
Here we have a look at it now. It's through the foggy S's. Yeah,
he went off.
He just got it wrong.
Yeah, and
tried to cut the corner.
He's going to apply the throttle, and he probably lost the engine when he did that.
Oh well, and look at Beijing. How far have they got that lead now? Amazing. 2.3 seconds now. They're in their own race. Sevilla, Rome, and Tottenham still chasing them. There's Tottenham going through.
Rome made a move on Sevilla, I think we haven't got it on the screen. But,
and Liverpool are the team to watch. They are right up there, up to 8th position now. Everybody dropping out. Liverpool doing a superb job coming through the field. Alain and PSV Eindhoven, their next victims.
We just saw Olympiacos, I think, in the grass.
Yeah, that's a real shame, because they were challenging Tottenham, as you saw there, and we went on board.
I wonder if they went together wrong, but would be good to have a look at the lead, because I think Roma made a move on Sevilla, and I think we have Beijing, and yes, we have Roma in second place. Yes,
Roma are in second place, so
he made a move into Redgate.
AS Roma have done
corner.
Sevilla. Borja Garcia may have made a mistake, but I think it was more to do with the pressure by Enrico Tocacello, who's up to 7th place. There are Liverpool Football Club, and Liverpool are marching on.
It's very, very easy to do a mistake with that car. As I said, it's all down to the drive. The car's a bit heavy, a bit tricky to drive. Going into the corners, you might get some oversteer, and if you do, you're losing 1.5 up to 2 seconds per lap.
Here's a check on it then. Beijing, AS Roma in second place. Sevilla still running in third. Tottenham Hotspur still fourth. Eindhoven fifth. Alain in sixth place. Liverpool from the back up to 7th place ahead of FC Porto. Glasgow Rangers also going forward, and they are in 9th position. Great stuff. Last lap of 1:21.2.
Yeah, good performance from AS Roma on that last lap with a good lap, best lap, 20.6 and 20.7 for PSV Eindhoven. Then again, as you were saying, the Rangers doing a good lap, 21.3. It's quite good. Same lap as Beijing on the last lap, so good performance from the Rangers.
And remember, a double-edged sword. We've got another race to come, and it's a reverse grid. So if you are at the back and you are still circulating, you've got a good chance of starting at the front. Liverpool looking for another place as we go into the foggy S's, and he makes it nicely.
Borja Garcia definitely has a problem. He went from second place to now down into 8th. Yes,
that's definitely a mechanical problem. We're looking at Tottenham Hotspur coming out of the Melco hairpin, but Liverpool are the team on the move. Second in the league at the moment in Great Britain, and now looking to try and get into the top 3 here in the Super League.
So we'll have Tottenham on the podium so far.
Yeah,
Tottenham will be third.
Well, of course, it is the home race for the British teams, and they would love dearly to be on the podium. Duncan Tappy heading that way, and Liverpool not far behind. Here it is, that move. a moment ago by Liverpool. Nice and smoothly done by Adrian Baez.
Yes, perfect. Nothing happens on the steering wheel. Very good move. Under braking, nice and clean.
It's a dream come true for Baez. He's a big fan of Torres and of Liverpool, and so he's really enjoying his time in the car.
Yeah, he wants to do well for the club. I mean, they're carrying themselves, but they're carrying the club colours, which is an extra good thing.
Bruce, are you surprised? A lot of people will be unfamiliar with the name of Davide Regan. Are you surprised he's been the top man so far?
No, I am not surprised. He did well since he got there, and I met him last year on a test in 3000, and he's won the Formula 3000 Italia 2 years ago, and he did well. And driving a 3000, it is exactly the same as driving this car. He was very competitive at the wheel of that car. His driving style suits this car, so no, it's not a surprise at all for me.
Well, it won't surprise you that he's not a huge fan of the Beijing team. He's actually an AC Milan fan, and that's surprising. He is an Italian. Can't take that away from him. But I tell you what, they're going to be a big fan of him in Beijing, because there was a group of supporters and sponsors for him coming over, and I was standing next to them yesterday, and they were so excited to see their football colours go around. And I think that is the essence of this sport, is to actually see your team, which always brings a lot of passion, going round at 150 miles an hour. Fantastic.
Yeah, especially yesterday, the qualifying was fantastic, and he did a brilliant job in qualifying, and he had us screaming and cheering at him, so it was really good. Question is, did he break his heart to beat AC Milan in qualifying?
Maybe. Who knows? Beijing Guan, AS Roma, the gap 2.6 seconds, and with 17 minutes to go, Enrico Toccacello can absolutely fulfill his boyhood dream of representing Roma and taking them to the top. Tottenham Hotspur in third position ahead of PSV Eindhoven. Alain now going to be under pressure from Liverpool. There are Liverpool in the background. Here they come. Well, they say you'll never walk alone in the COP, and he's certainly walking very well indeed through this field. He is striding through this field. Here's Adrian Baez of Liverpool, and he has a very good chance of getting on the podium with 16 minutes to go.
Yeah, very strong last few laps from Liverpool, but Alain is holding up as well. He did a very good last lap. 120.7 for Alain, 120.7 for Liverpool, so it's going to be a good fight. Beijing.
Across the line again they come.
Beijing really pulled away.
There, big gap, 2.8 seconds. And
yes.
As long as he keeps it on the island, as they say, he's got this one in the bag.
Yeah, I really think he's now controlling the race, because he's lapping in 120.4, 120.5 every laps, and he's just controlling the race.
There's a lot of tactics in this. As I said, a reverse grid for race 2. You score 50 points for first place, and if Beijing get that, I actually think starting at the back won't be a massive disadvantage of them, because they can run some 1, maybe 2 seconds quicker than some of the slower teams, and that means that they can get some extra really good points and actually win the league at the end of the day, or at least win the first round of 6 of this new Super League.
Yeah, it's totally agreed. Anything's possible. That even if you start from the back, you can still make up a very good race. It's just a question of finding the right place to overtake.
Corinthians into the pit again after that spin.
Yes, a few problems since they got there. They just got the car last week. Not much time to prepare the car very well.
Well, we thought it was all over. It is now. Corinthians are out. Andy Soucek.
Yep, he still managed to do a good performance in qualifying. He did a 20.4, quite a good lap time. But there you go, the race is over for him.
Another lap completed. 14 or just less than 14 or less than 15 minutes to go. And of course, +1. That's why I was thinking it's a little bit longer than 15 or 16 minutes to go in this one. Beijing hanging on, which what will be an absolutely historic and famous victory, both for the club and, of course, for Super League Formula. First ever running of the Super League race here at Donington Park. They head to Nürburgring next, and Zolder, Estoril, Vallelunga and Jerez. That's the year this year, a much longer year expected next year, and more teams expected to join as well as the interest grows. I was talking to the Rangers people, a lot of interest up there in Scotland. Rangers really getting a lot of publicity, Celtic not liking it too much, and of course Rangers play Celtic this afternoon. So a lot at stake for poor old Ryan Dale in the Rangers seat.
Very interesting to see. Toccacello is really pushing hard, as you can see now on the images. He's really trying, but he's lapping in 120.7, as on the other hand, Beijing, Davide Regan, is really controlling the race, not taking too much risk. You see, he's quite far from the curbs, as he's on the curbs.
Yeah.
And he laps a little bit slowly.
I spoke to Enrico of AS Roma this morning, and he was claiming to me that he just didn't have the top-end power that he wanted. He said he was down on overall top speed, but it's not showing at the moment in terms of the lap time. Their last lap time, a 20.8 by Beijing, and Roma quicker at 20.5. He was 3/10 quicker. There's Tottenham Hotspur. Chasing them are PSV Eindhoven.
Yes, AS Roma trying to make the move on Beijing, pushing really hard at the moment, so 120.5, good, 3/10 quicker than Beijing, but I think David Aragon is taking careful and just controlling the race at the moment. Okay, now you've got a good fight, two very experienced driver. You've got Alain, and Adrian Valles behind Alain for Liverpool. And Adrian Zuber is very experienced, and he's able to stay there under pressure without making a mistake.
Yeah, Andy Zuber got plenty of experience, but he's going to be under a lot of pressure from Adrian Valles, another GP2 driver. And we go on board with PSV Eindhoven as they come towards the Foggy S's. This is one of the fastest parts of the circuit, upwards of, 280 kilometres before breaking hard, Bruce, into the Foggy S's.
Yes, exactly. Top speed there, 280 kilometres, and then changing direction with that big car. Not easy. Good spot to watch if you're coming at the weekend, if you're ever coming to Donington Park. And yeah, he gets closer and closer. He was strong yesterday, he's strong again today, and Tottenham is getting under pressure now.
So then, coming into Goddard's, PSV Eindhoven still holding station at the moment behind Tottenham Hotspur, and Duncan Tappy driving the car for them as they come onto the main straight again. The battle is about to really go off, though, between Alain and Liverpool FC. This is the battle just behind them. And
only a few tenths separating each other. 4 tenths between Alain and Liverpool.
The battle really is going to be on between Alain and Liverpool in a moment. Liverpool have definitely been the dominant team. Their last lap, a 1:21.0. In fact, to be fair, though, to Andy Zuber, he wasn't any slower. It's just that they're getting closer and closer bit by bit. AS Roma's gap is 0.4. No, that's the gap between Liverpool and Alain. But as you can see on screen, AS Roma, that's the gap between first and second. It's currently, or was, 2.3 seconds. It's about that still, but it's getting closer as we come down. 11 minutes, has he got enough time?
Yeah, he does, but I think David Aragon from Beijing is controlling the race, and he does control. He has a lot of performance into his car. So
Bruce, this is what I wanted to see: Alain and Liverpool Football Club fighting each other.
Yes, they're so close. 4 tenths only between the two cars. It's going to be interesting. Tottenham there as well, under pressure from PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah, PSV Eindhoven have got closer. Here's the battle, though. Liverpool right there into Goddard's with Alain. Andy Zuber will have to defend at Redgate. Possibility to overtake for Liverpool. Adrian Valles pushing down the power of the V12. Down the straight they come, past our commentary position. A little signal from Valles there. I don't know what he was saying, but into Redgate he goes. He just put his hand out of the commentary.
Yeah, he was just trying to put his mirror back. Huh? He was trying to put his mirror back into place.
Okay.
His mirror is falling off. But yeah, he's pretty relaxed for someone.
Are you telling me racing drivers actually use mirrors?
Well,
never seen one use mirrors.
I think one just went off, so maybe he just pulled it out of the way.
Yeah.
But
maybe it was loose and distracting him.
Exactly.
Out of Schwantz they go towards McLean's. Big bump in the middle of there. And then back on the power towards Koppis. Another possibility of overtaking. He'll get himself into a position, try and tuck himself up behind him, and look for a place at the Foggy S's as they come underneath the bridge. Liverpool on the charge. Eindhoven still hounding Tottenham Hotspur. Two great races going on in the midfield here, but Beijing are dominating proceedings and lead by 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, still the same difference between Beijing and AS Roma. Same gap, 2.3 seconds, so it's very stable. Last lap, 20.7 for Beijing, 20.6 for AS Roma. So AS Roma still a little bit quicker than Beijing, but not quite closing the gap.
Well, we're going to have two possible overtakes in the next lap or so. Got a real feeling that Eindhoven are going to make a challenge on Tottenham, and of course we've been watching this battle between Alain and Liverpool. It continues, across the line they come. 9 minutes to go here in the first ever Super League Formula. Bruce Joanny and Jonathan Green bringing you the action here from a sunny Donington Park here for the first ever historic moment, and it will be history if Beijing can scare off the rest of the great teams of football and win the first ever race. They have a 2.2 second gap over AS Roma. Roma having a real purple patch in football terms. Will Enrico Toccatello turn it into a continued winning form? We're about to find out. Certainly if I know Enrico, and I've watched him race in Formula 3000, World Series by Renault and A1, and he is a fighter. He will take it all the way to the end. Am I wrong?
He will, but I think Liverpool is about to make
Here we
a
go.
move.
No. Thought about it, didn't he?
Hey.
Wasn't
it
close
was
enough.
close. It was not close enough. But it's getting close. It's getting close. He's really on a charge, and maybe Melbourne, maybe not Melbourne.
I don't think he's close enough.
No, he's not quite close enough. But maybe
and also, if you know Andy Zuber, he's a fighter. You won't get past Zuber easily.
And he's a late breaker as well. So for sure, it's not going to be easy. But he's there, putting pressure, waiting for a mistake from Adrian Zuber. Will he come? Will he won't? Good thing as well that I just saw FC Porto just behind Liverpool. He's very fast actually. He's lapping in 21.
Quicker than anybody. Here come Liverpool at Redgate.
And he's starting to make a move on them as well. So interesting. We're going to have plenty of fighting until the end of the race.
Well, the COP are on their feet. They're not quite singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" yet, but it could be happening very soon. Alain going for it. But oh, that was Zuber out of control there, and he's going to lose precious seconds. Eindhoven still putting pressure on Tottenham Hotspur just in front of this battle.
Really pushing hard, Adrian Zuber. He's on the limit all the time, on the edge of the curbs, using all the track he can, and he
was out there as well.
Yes, he went a little bit wide. Maybe if we can have a look again at the Liverpool, he's very close. It's now or never. It's now.
Here we go. Liverpool making an attack. Zuber tries to defend.
Yes.
Same place again. It's going to be there, and Zuber knows it.
He did block at the right time, at the right moment. So very good defending maneuver from Adrian Zuber. It's getting closer, and as you see, FC Porto is
well. Tristan Gomedy, the man who
back.
won the Macau Grand Prix, and I witnessed that. And that's, of course, one of the most famous street races for Formula 3. Tristan Gomedy coming through, and he's a great peddler. It's Tristan Gomedy, and he's attacking these two now. And as Alain tries to defend from Liverpool, Gomedy is joining the battle. Here come Liverpool again, down the main straight. A chance to go at Redgate. He goes to the inside, can't quite do it.
And Adrian Zuber is really under pressure, and you will see this car is very hard to drive, and it's very easy to do a mistake. He's doing a very good job so far, and as you see on the right side, he's full on the throttle. G is going up to 3.4, 6 down to 4 for the old hairpin, and you can see just behind him Liverpool putting the pressure up the gears into 6 at 250 kilometers.
Yeah, great to be able to see when they're on the throttle and when they're braking, and great graphic illustration there of how it all works. Beijing, though, continue. It's almost relatively peaceful at the front with a continued gap of 2 seconds. The real fight is between Tottenham and Eindhoven, Alain and Liverpool. And what a fight it is in the first ever race. And I say that FC Porto of Portugal have joined the fight.
Yes, very good few last laps. And as well, those two cars in front, Alain and Liverpool, have been fighting each other. So they've been slowing down each other, and FC Porto is coming back.
So there's confirmation. 5 minutes to go. That's just a couple of laps to go. Probably about 3 laps with the extra lap that we get after the clock stops. LAN still defending with Andy Zuber. Tristan Gomedy in Goddard's now. Look at him. Gomedy's coming, the Frenchman. Bruce, you must know this guy.
Hey, yes, I do. Race against him since very long time. But all those 3 guys just now, let me tell you, they're doing a great job because they're fighting each other with this big car, which is not easy to drive. 700 horsepower to put the throttle on. It's very hard, and none of them is doing a mistake. So they're doing a very good job.
And down the Crane of Curves, one of the most scary parts of motor racing. I've been there on a motorbike and in a Formula 1 car. It is frightening, and you have to be brave to keep full throttle through there. But these guys they know what they're doing. Through the Schwantz curve and towards McLean's.
Very clever race as well from Liverpool, from Adrian Valles, because as you saw, the last lap and a half, he didn't try to make a move on Adrian Zuber, just giving him a little bit of oxygen to go and drive, because he saw FC Porto behind him catching them. So he just let him go, and so they're putting a gap again.
He's going to go and put some pressure on now. Not close enough again. There are the Liverpool team watching on. David Hale of High Tech, of course, running a very tight ship, very successful Formula 3 team. And High Tech, of course, as you've worked with them, a big part of the development of the Super League.
Yeah, they've been working hard on the car, producing a great car, very reliable so far. And they were not very happy yesterday with what happened, because they were up there during the testing, so they must be happy about the race just now.
Time running out for those chasing this man, Beijing Guan FC.
4 minutes to go, 4 minutes plus 1 lap, but Beijing still looking very strong. The gap between Beijing and Roma now, it's 2.7 seconds, so again, Davide Rigon really mastering the race, and AS Roma not being as fast anymore. Last lap at 1:21.3. So Tocacello did push very, very hard. Probably asked a lot to his tires and to the car, and now he's going off again. And Beijing is keeping every lap the same lap time. Very strong. Good race.
Here's an interesting fact for you. You know that Guan have actually, since their formation in '92, never actually won the league in China. They've been runners-up in the A-League in '95, and they've also won the China Football Association Cup both in '96 and '97. So this would be a real step towards a first league championship, but of course it wouldn't be as they expected. This would be Super League formula, and I'll tell you what, they're going to be top of the table at the end of the day if they keep on going like this. Davide Rigon now less than 3 minutes away from victory, and I can't see now AS Roma challenging them.
No, I think, well, you never know until you cross the line, but so far, very strong from race from Beijing, and still he's lapping very quick. AS Roma is still pushing hard, just in case Davide makes a mistake, but no, Beijing looks strong.
Tottenham still holding off Eindhoven. LAN still holding off Liverpool FC. FC Porto with Tristan Gomendi just might make one more challenge from 7th place. Glasgow Rangers are up to 8th. Basel are in 9th position, and 10th are Sevilla, sadly, still circulating. Borja Garcia unable to maintain that 2nd place. Some sort of problem for him.
Yes, good race from
Here we go.
Porto.
Here's Eindhoven and Tottenham.
Very close. We're going to have a fight on the end. You were right at the beginning of the race. You had the feeling that Tottenham could do a good race, and he did improve every time, and he's up there.
I should have put some money on it. Away they go then. Down the hill they come, one of the fastest parts of the circuit, braking hard into the foggy S's. Duncan Tappy, who got the drive just a few days ago to represent Tottenham Hotspur. I asked him if he was a fan of Tottenham Hotspur, and he is from London, and he lives in the London area, and he said, well, I'm not a big football fan, but he said if I had a team, it would probably be Arsenal or Tottenham. But for the sake of argument, I'm a Tottenham fan. So fair enough.
Yes, Yerno Berman, as I was watching, is not making moves yet. He's waiting for the last lap.
News from the pits says that Liverpool have actually gone past LAN, and that's great news for Liverpool Football Club. They are going to be in a humdinger with Aston Villa in a few hours' time, but right now they've got their work cut out at Donington Park, and they're up to 5th position now. So Andy Zuber trying to hold him off, but just couldn't hold him.
No, he was starting from last position, so fantastic race from Liverpool.
So then, less than a minute to go for Guan FC of Beijing. Davide Rigon, the Italian, the youngster, going brilliantly. He has topped the times all through the weekend. And Bruce, it's just been immaculate. It's very rare in motor racing terms that you actually are at the top of the times in free practice, in qualifying, and of course with a knockout system, you've got to be on it every lap.
Yes, you do have to be on it every lap. I mean, he was up there in practice already, and you don't always expect to see the cars who's up there in practice to be up there in qualifying, but he's being so strong and flying all over the week, so it's well deserved.
Let's take a look at the last times. 1:20.9, he's been consistently right there. 3/10 quicker were AS Roma and Tocacello last time out, but it's not going to be enough. 10 seconds to go.
Yes, so that means that they have to finish the countdown, which is another 5 seconds, and that they have to do another lap after
so
that.
One more lap after that. We've got 2 laps to go.
So
there's a glint of light, if you like, for AS Roma. They may try to do something, but I can't see it happening. It's going to have to be a mistake from Beijing.
Yes, 1.5 seconds between the 2 cars, so Beijing just taking it easy. 4/10 difference between the 2 cars, but I think no, Beijing can take it.
Bruce, got to ask you, you've done what? 7 months, a year or so of testing. You've done more miles than anybody. You've been waiting for this day like everybody else. Did you expect 2 cars to have a 12-second lead over the rest?
No, clearly not, especially when it's the first race of the season, because the teams haven't got the time to make a difference in terms of setup to the others. But no, it's a very good race from Beijing and AS Roma. Very, very good race.
Well, that is the facts. Both Beijing and AS Roma are 1.6 seconds apart, and they have a 13-second lead over 3rd place Tottenham and PSV Eindhoven. Brilliant job done by Adrian Vaiaz in 5th place for Liverpool. He's got them right up there and some valuable points. Superb stuff for him. Into Goddard's come Beijing. We're expecting one more lap after this.
Yes.
And here we go. This is the final lap. It doesn't look as though he's going to be put under pressure. It's going to take a massive mistake. But what a story Super League Formula has thrown up in its very first race in history. All of the great clubs of the world, all the trophies they've won. This is the least successful team amongst them. Only formed in 1992. No one really knows about Guan FC. They will after today.
Beijing, AS Roma, 2-second gap, so definitely enough time for Beijing to take it easy on the last lap, but they're still pushing, both of them, because AS Roma keeps on putting pressure.
Remember, another race to come, a reverse grid, so this man will really show just what mettle he's got, because Davide Rigant will start at the back of race 2, but he has put in an absolutely sterling performance. 2 seconds the gap he has, and he's kept a 2-second gap throughout the race. It's been an immaculate drive. The Chinese can be proud that they have picked a good man to represent their team. Into the Melbourne loop for the last time. Sliding slightly through there towards Goddard's. 1 corner to go. Here we go. Beijing Guan are going to make history by winning the first ever Super League Formula race, and they do it in absolute brilliant style. Across the line come Beijing. Quite brilliant. AS Roma will take second place. In the end, 2.5 seconds down. Tottenham still under pressure from Eindhoven. Last chance for Jalmar Berman. Can't do it. And Duncan Tappy is going to take Tottenham to the podium in England. Brilliant stuff. And that's great for English fans. Liverpool also come over the line. Great run by Adrian Baez. Across the line comes Alain as well in 6th place. Porto losing out and dropping down to 7th. Glasgow Rangers take 8th position. We'll be proud of that. They started right at the back. But Zach Speed delighted with that. And they talk about the ups and downs. Yes! Big celebrations all round. And Beijing have done it. And what a race and what a weekend they've had. I haven't seen anything go wrong for Davide. A really cool customer. I spoke to him this morning. I said, you know, how are you feeling? He said, oh, fine.
Yeah.
I go for it.
Looking easy, and he did a brilliant job all weekend. So far, he looks very, very strong, a lot stronger than anyone else, except AS Roma, who had a disappointing qualifying session, and they're back up to the top level for the race. So that's good for the second race. Good to see them back up there.
And the good thing for Davide is that he's actually been running in sports cars of late. And to be honest, this is his first time back in a single-seater, certainly of this power, for a long, long time. And so what a way to come back. And you know, as a racing driver, it's never easy to step into single-seaters. I think they're the hardest cars in the world. And this, being an all-new car, I think will be the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he had lots. He didn't have many offers after his title 2 years ago in 3000. He had to go where he could make a living, and it's a fantastic opportunity, this championship, to make him able to drive again where he knows how to drive well, single-seaters, and there you go, he wins the race.
Well, China have just put on a stunning Olympics, and Beijing a big part of it, and now, in motor racing terms, they've just made their mark for the first time in history. And to be fair, yes, motor racing is growing in Asia, and there are a lot of good Asian racing drivers coming through, but yet to see China winning anything, and it's great to see Beijing right up there as a club.
Nice image. He must be delighted. I hope we'll see him on the podium.
Well, Bruce, reflect on what you thought would happen and what you saw happen. Is it what you expected? Well, certainly not the guy who won, perhaps, but...
No, for sure. No, for me, it was a really, really good race. It's just a shame not to see AC Milan being able to compete up there with the leaders. But, I mean, that's racing, and Beijing was looking strong, and I kind of knew he was going to be up there all the time. Good surprise from Tottenham as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm really impressed with Duncan Tappy. And again, he too was given a lifeline this week. Wasn't expecting to be running. And I always find, amazing how racing drivers actually keep sharp, because if you haven't been in a car for a while, it's very hard to drive one of these cars and be sharp.
Yes, it is. And, well, Duncan has been driving a little bit during the season, but he's jumping from one car to the other, and it's not really easy to adapt to a new car, but he's done a really good job. And, well, they are all keeping fit. And I'm telling you, they must have been sweating. There you go, Davide.
Davide is out and celebrating. Tottenham, there they come.
Must be delighted, Duncan Tappy. Yeah, he is definitely delighted. Very, very good job from him. And Tocacello must be around as well. Very good job.
Well, Tottenham play Chelsea this afternoon. Maybe maybe that's a good omen for them. So celebration all round.
With Alex Andreou, which must be very, very proud.
Yeah, there is the CEO of Superleague Formula, Alex Andreou.
Fantastic
and,
show.
Yeah, he put on a good show.
Very well done to him. Davide, hey, here he is, his first winner.
Yeah, the first time we get a look at him, really. But he's going to be a proud man, the AC Milan fan, but representing Beijing.
Any Chinese around? No, not yet.
Well, they're up in the hospitality. They're getting wined and dined. So that is your first race of Super League Formula. And it's an Italian from Beijing who has taken victory.
And another Italian on the podium as well.
And another Italian, yeah, of course. Don't forget, Enrico Toccacello. Good job, actually, done by Enrico Toccacello.
Yes. 3 cars there, lined up. Beautiful.
Let's see if we can hear from Davide Rigan, that impressive winner of the first race.
Great race. How was it win the first round of the Super League?
Was very good. I started very well, never do a mistake. When I see Toccacello was coming to follow me, I tried to push a little bit more. I control everything, but I have to say he was very fast. I think we was in the same. I just did a pole position and I was in the front of him. I just have to control the race. But to say the car is perfect, it's a not so easy race, it's hard. There was a safety car, so I had a good advantage and broke everything, but okay, I'm very happy for this.
You had a great start and then you led for so much of the race.
Yeah, I had a good start. Unfortunately, the safety car don't help me because I lose all my advantage. But okay, then I continue to push and I never lose. I always concentrate and push. I never was slowly. I always push. Thank you.
Enrique, how was your race?
I think we had a really good race. I had a good start and won 3 position from the start, and then I don't know, after the safety car, maybe Sevilla cars had a problem in the first corner, overtook him, and then I started pushing to win some gap from Rigon, and then it was fast. Maybe at the end it was a little bit faster. But anyway, the gap was too much. And then I want to say thank you to my team because they did a really good job. The car was perfect, so I'm really happy and confident for the second race.
Do you think you can go on better in the next race?
Well, you know, we start in 16th position, I think, so it should be not easy in this circuit to overtake. But anyway, we'll see.
Great race, Duncan. How was that?
that was a great race for me. I timed the start well and managed to hang it out around the outside of the first corner and pick up a few, and had a great move down into Old Hairpin. So I couldn't have asked more from myself really, from the first lap point of view. But then from after that, it was just a case of keeping it on the black stuff, trying to use my brain as much as possible, and trying not to get the result in my head before it actually happened. So yeah, just trying to bring the car home really.
First race and you're on the podium, you must be so pleased.
I am, considering I had the call on Thursday. We didn't really see this coming, so, well, so I think it was Wednesday actually, but even so, it's a great turnaround, and thanks to the boys, thanks to Tottenham for picking me as their driver, and I couldn't be happier right now. Cheers.
So very happy, Duncan Tappy of Tottenham Hotspur, but there is the result then. Beijing with the win over AS Roma. Tottenham Hotspur taking 3rd place, PSV Eindhoven 4th, Liverpool in 5th position, and Alain in 6th position there, just ahead of FC Porto. Tristan Gomendy fighting hard, but not quite making it. Rangers coming up to 8th position, FC Basel in 9th, and Sevilla in the end finishing 10th. Corinthians in trouble right from the start. Olympiacos also having problems. Galatasaray, Anderlecht, Borussia Dortmund, Flamenco, and AC Milan. In fact, the first team out. And of course, that is the grid. So AC Milan, ironically, will be pole for the second race, and that bodes well for them. So we could have a big day for the Italians. A 2nd place for AS Roma and a pole position in race 2 for AC Milan. So the Brits enjoying whatever sunshine is left of the summer, and there hasn't been much. did you know for a fact it's been the worst August in English history for the sunshine? And there isn't much of it today. But the ray of light is certainly Duncan Tappy of Great Britain and Tottenham Hotspur. Didn't even realise that he was going to be racing. Couldn't see it coming. Said that it was a complete out-of-the-blue invite to come and race for them. And I have to say, to be as sharp as he was, he said that's one of his best races ever. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, he did a very, very good job, and he worked out his way all the way, and it's very well deserved. Did a very strong race.
He's got the shirt on, look. Yeah. Yeah, now you're a Tottenham fan, my friend. Yep.
He kept the pressure very well from PSV, and we're going to see him on the podium.
Yeah, no question about it. Duncan Tappy, of course, the reigning British Renault champion, and very impressive indeed. Of course, that was the championship that Lewis Hamilton made his name in. Duncan very much following in the footsteps. Davide Rigon, I'm really impressed with, though, having done sports cars as well, to come back to single-seaters. There he is on the right-hand side there. Very impressive to come into a big car like this. Enrico Tocacello has been driving A1, has been driving GP2, and, of course, was a former winner in Formula 3000. You know, he's been at the sharp end of these sorts of cars for the past few years, and Davide Rigon hasn't. He's been doing sports cars. Not that they're any slower, but quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's been doing sports cars last year, but he did the Formula 3000 the year before, and he won the title on the championship. So he has experience in single seaters, and he has a driving style which really, really suits that car. It's a heavy car. He does very fast in, very fast out, puts the power down early, suits the car, shows the result.
So, waiting for the podium for the first ever beautiful race. The conditions here are still very muggy. It started off foggy this morning, and it hasn't really improved much. So, typical Derbyshire countryside weather, but that's Donington Park for you. And in a moment, the guys will celebrate. And here's some slow-mo pictures of Tottenham in action. And you really see how much they're bouncing over the curves and how much of the track they're using. You can see the pressure he was under from Eindhoven. There is AS Roma and Tocacello.
Yes, using all of the track. You have to use all of the track and go over the curbs with that car. It's a big, big car. It takes a lot of space on the car. You have to use as much room as you can. As we see Davide Rigon celebrating. He's very happy.
There he goes, onto the podium.
So we have racing drivers wearing football shirts on the podium, which is quite good.
So the flags are raised.
Enrico Tocacello second, Davide Rigon for Beijing winner, and Duncan Tappy on the right side for the Tottenham Spurs.
There won't be too much celebration because they've got another race coming up, of course, and so I think it'll be more a case of appreciating that win and then getting back to work. How much do you think they'll change in terms of setup? I can't see Davide Rigon changing anything, can you?
No, I think he's going to keep the car as it was, and the other drivers will probably try to change, do a few bits and pieces to make the car better, but for sure Davide is very strong. Still he can work, but he won't make a big change, for sure not. And they have to...
So if you've just tuned in, you're watching the first ever podium celebrations for the Super League Formula. Tottenham Hotspur on the podium, taking third place. And in second place, AS Roma, Enrico Tocacello, the driver, and he is from Rome. So we've got a Londoner in third place representing Tottenham. We've got a homebred boy from Rome. A big moment for Enrico, this. And it is a proud moment. He was saying a lot of his friends are talking to him again. They're not bothered that he's a racing driver, but when he's representing AS Roma, then they want to talk to him. That's the Deputy General Manager of the Beijing Guan FC, Gao Dongfu, giving out the prizes, and that is a very proud man.
Very well done and well-deserved trophy for Davide. Very strong so far all weekend, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do, starting last in the second race.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be hard work, but it'll make for some interesting races, and can certainly see Enrico Tocacello won't be holding back. And in fact, actually all three of them now, and having watched them drive, certainly watching Tappy, he's very aggressive, and in a weird way, he's brought his Renault to it. Let's pause now for the national anthem.
some of the most famous names in football in a new world league. It's the beautiful game at 300 kilometers per hour. The pride and passion of football together with the thrill and excitement of motor racing, as old rivals on the pitch become opponents on the track. The Superleague Formula Round 1, coming up at 6 on Setanta Sports 2.